My name is Ben, and I want to talk to a very specific type of person today. All right, I'm going to get straight into it. You used to be an athlete. All right, you used to thrive in the competitive, high pressure environment. You had that structure every single day, game days every single week, practices, film sessions, recovery, everything like that. Those two-a-days, you loved them, you looked forward to them, right? You used to thrive in that athletic environment, but now you're an entrepreneur, right? And your business is doing amazing. Revenue is the highest it's ever been. And I'm not surprised. You took all of those mental attributes and characteristics of growing up as a competitive athlete and transferred them directly into the entrepreneurship world. And so, again, your business is doing amazing because you built it. The mental characteristics that you developed easily transferred over, and that discipline stuck. You're doing amazing in entrepreneurship, but something still feels off, right? You don't feel like yourself. You don't feel like you used to. And you keep telling yourself, I just gotta lock in. I just gotta get into better shape like I used to be. But it's been months, if not years, of you saying that, and yet you're still in the same position as you've been since you stopped playing sports, since you stopped being a competitive athlete, right? So today, I want to talk about why this happens, why this is so common for former athletes going into entrepreneurship to not feel like themselves anymore, and how to actually integrate athletics, entrepreneurship, being a business owner, and actually make them work together. So let's get right into it. The problem isn't motivation or lack of discipline, right? You've built an incredibly successful business, for crying out loud. You can't tell me that someone that has found success in entrepreneurship isn't disciplined, right? Those just don't go hand in hand. And so it's not that you're missing discipline. What you're missing is structure like you used to have, right? All of those practices every day, the lifts, the film sessions, the game days every single week, the recovery sessions, right? You had everything all laid out in front of you every single day, every single week, every single month, every single year, with all of the different seasons and off season and training sessions. Again, like I said, all of it, all of that structure, it's inevitable to succeed as long as you follow that structure and you're disciplined and intense, consistent, right? And your environment as a competitive athlete demands so much excellence from you already, but now you are the only one that demands excellence from yourself in the entrepreneurship world, right? You don't have that structure to rely on. It's only you, right? And your business consumed all of that structure that used to go to your health. Clients have systems, right? Revenue has tracking, work has routine. It's all structured now for your business, but for your health, there's nothing. There's no structure anymore, right? You feel it. You can see it every time you look in the mirror, yet you continue not to do anything about it. Now it's all random for your health. You have no structure. It's always when I can go exercise, I will, or when I can eat healthy, I will. When I can get 7, 8 hours of sleep, I will, but it always ends up not happening the way you want to. Work never slows down. And so you're never able to actually put some focus or prioritize your health in any way. And so that's why you feel off. That's why you don't feel like yourself. It's not that you're lazy now, that you used to be this powerful, dangerous athlete with tons of confidence and great structure and discipline, everything like that, to now a lazy business owner. It's not like that, right? You're not lazy. You're just unstructured. And here's the true deeper layer that no former athlete wants to talk about. When sports end, right, no matter what level you reached at the end, when they come to an end, you lose part of your identity. It comes so suddenly. No more practices, no more games, no more film sessions, no more locker room talk with the guys, right? It all abruptly comes to an end. And at that point, it really hits you. You start realizing, you're like, damn, it's over. And at that moment, you lose part of your identity, because for so long, that was your life. That was you, right? Being an athlete, getting respect from others because you play this specific sport and because of your skill level or your expertise, right? That was you. And again, when that ends so abruptly and suddenly, you lose yourself for a minute. And then entrepreneurship comes along, your business replaces that. So you kind of feel yourself again, right? It's just a different field, a different court in the business and entrepreneurship world, right? You can transfer and carry those mental characteristics over like you used to have, but It's not the exact same. You still miss the locker room, the brotherhood that you used to have, the physical aggression, and the earned respect that you used to get. And entrepreneurship is lonely. Of course, you could have some entrepreneurs, friends in your life, and they can help you out, but it's still such a lonely road because for each entrepreneur, it's a little bit different, right? We all have a little different route to take, mindset about entrepreneurship in the business world and how things should work. Again, people are similar in the business world, but at the end of the day, everyone's just a little bit different, and it can definitely feel isolated. You can definitely feel lonely along the way. But during that whole process of becoming an entrepreneur, starting your business, you try and convince yourself that, you don't need that edge like you used to have as an athlete. You don't need to be so competitive anymore. It's a different environment. It's a different way of living. And that's how you try to convince yourself, but it doesn't need to be that way. You don't have to suppress those feelings of wanting to be the best, wanting to be the greatest, right? Because that edge you used to have, the way you used to feel as an athlete, again, you should still feel that way now. That's when you felt the most alive. But let's come back to reality and be real with each other for a second. The fear isn't to become fat, right? The fear is to become successful but soft, wealthy but always tired, or busy but undisciplined. And you don't want to be the guy who says, yeah, I used to be in insane shape, right? When your prime years are behind you. You don't want that. You want your prime now. Once again, you want to feel like you used to feel. You want to feel like yourself again, right? And I'm going to tell you right now, the truth, it doesn't have to be a trade-off. To be successful in business doesn't mean you have to not focus on your health at the same time. Like I said, it does not have to be a trade-off. That belief is killing you. You don't need to choose between health or business. And the one thing that I hate when people say is you need balance in your life, right? I hate that, especially when people say you need to balance health and fitness. It doesn't need to be like that. Balance implies trade-off. To be able to have this, you also need this, but the right amount. Otherwise, it starts to get uneven. But you don't need balance when it comes to your health and business. You need integration. You need them to work in unison and together, both positively benefiting the other at the same time. Your health should actually fuel your business. And here's what that looks like. Having a non-negotiable structure even on your rest days. A custom training routine that actually fits with your real schedule, not a college athlete schedule like you used to have. Real nutrition for energy and clarity, not just for aesthetics. An actual routine around sleep and having that structure for recovery, because your brain is your biggest asset. And lastly, brotherhood. Being around other killers who refuse to decline, fueling you even more. This is not just about having the six-pack abs again. This is about restoring your identity. When your mind is sharp and clear, everything else starts to fall into place much easier and exactly how you want to. But in order to have your mind sharp and clear, you have to treat your body correctly. They go hand in hand. They work together, right? If you're out of shape, if you're overweight, you have too much body fat, you don't get sleep at night, you don't exercise regularly like you used to, of course your mind is not going to feel like it used to. You're not going to be sharp. You're going to have horrible brain fog. You're not going to be able to function like you want to be for your business. And so again, all of that starts with your health, treating your body how it needs to be treated so that your mind can work like it needs to be. And I'm not just saying all of this blabbering on about something I've never experienced myself. I have lived this. I know what it's like to have my whole identity based on my performance in sports. And then transitioning into entrepreneurship, I know what it feels like to have that structure ripped away from you, to have that structure disappear and you feel like you're in the abyss. You feel like you can't really figure things out or have those staples, those consistents, those constables all the time that are always there that you can rely on. But here's exactly what I refuse to let happen, to let my athletic identity die forever, to leave, right? I did not let that happen. I evolved my mindset. Again, when you go from athletics, competitive athlete, to an entrepreneur, you get lost for a minute, but then you start to figure it out. And like I said, I was never going to let myself lose the identity that I used to have. Just because I'm not a competitive athlete anymore doesn't mean I can't live like one anymore, right? And transfer all of the amazing benefits and attributes into the new field that I want to focus on in my life. Same discipline, same aggression, same standards, different environment. And I've helped other former athletes go through this transition period. And what tends to happen is they start to implement and develop that structure once again for themselves. Their energy comes back. They feel like themselves again. They have that aggression, they have that confidence, that self-respect, as well as earned respect from other people, just because of how they live, their mindset, and their healthy habits. Not because they worked out, but because they reclaimed their identity and who they actually were. And so I want you to imagine this version of you, because it has to happen in your mind first before you see it through your eyes in reality. You wake up with energy, you train with real intensity, your nutrition is automatic and structured, your business decisions are sharper, and your presence is felt again. And your kids start to see this change in their dad, right? Your wife starts to see this insane amount of discipline. Your competitors feel the pressure that you are now putting on them because of how you are demanding greatness from yourself once again. You're not chasing or trying to rebuild your old self, you're building a better one. And so if you agree with anything I said in this video, or at any part you thought, damn, he's right, it's because I was talking to you, not anybody else. I was talking to you, the former athlete who wants to start integrating health into his business and actually feel like himself again. If you're serious about rebuilding that structure, you want to feel like yourself again, I'll put a link below. You can apply there. Not everybody gets in. I don't work with anybody who says, oh yeah, I played soccer once, or I played basketball once. I'm talking about a real competitive athlete who stepped away, got into entrepreneurship, is seeing success, but wants to rebuild that structure. If you're serious, I'll put a link below. I only work with men who want standards back in their life. So if this is you, stop waiting for the business to slow down, stop waiting for life to get less chaotic. It's not gonna happen. You've got to pick yourself up. You've got to realize at some point that it's not just going to magically happen. You have to do it intentionally, make everything work together, and become dangerous again.